Alright, guys, we are back. I know we missed our Tuesday lineup. I had some family stuff going on, so I was not able to get to the podcast yesterday. I do have Neighoff back with me again tonight.
Brr, 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 brr.
So we're going to do kind of a truncated version. We're going to knock out both podcasts together at the same time. We're going to cruise through the waiver wire. Doggy's here saying hi. You might hear him panting in the background. We'll hit the waiver wire. We're going to hit standings, review our last week's picks with when Jay was on with us. We'll make picks again for this week, kind of go over some stuff, and then cover a couple injuries that came up that I guess we'll kind of do that with the waiver wire because I think a lot of those impacted what was picked up. So any thoughts leading into week 3, Chris? How you feeling about this?
Well, I mean, for my team, I feel pretty good. I mean, I have a tough early slate, but I'm feeling pretty good. It's been some good action.
I was gonna say you're
Um,
up there. I mean, me, you, and Ritter all took wins this week. I held on just by a few points. I'm up at just under 292. Ritter just under 287. I'm sorry, you're just under 288, and you just under 287. So there's only about we're looking at like 4 points, 5 points separating all three of us from first place. So
and after Haynes's big week, realistically, the top four people in the league right now are all separated by, I believe, less than 20 points. I think.
yeah, it's actually about 13 points, 14 points. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
yeah, it's pretty
pretty.
wild. Yeah. If
That's
not for
pretty good.
Haynes' week 1 dud, he would, he'd be up here with us. So, um, but yeah, I mean, I had a strong week 2 again. Dominated Joe Beal pretty quick. I think you knocked out J Rad, and I can't remember who Ritter played. I guess
Jay.
he beat Jay.
Ritter played J Rad. I played
You played
Jay
Jay.
Leonard, who got his ass whooped.
Yeah, that's got him panicking a little bit. He's searching. I hear he's searching a trade block, searching a waiver wire. Since we're talking about waiver wire, there were some massive purchases made this week on the waiver wire. You could
Woot,
definitely see the
woot. Oh, I love earn a dollar, spend two, boy.
yeah, you can see some of the tilting coming in on a few players here. I guess people they saw a need, they had to address it real tight. Um, so Chris, why don't you start on some of the waiver pickups there, and just fill me in on what kind of dollar figures they were.
I mean, Demarcus Robinson in the 30s, Debo Samuel in the 30s. That was my pick. Um, yeah, I mean, I think the Demarcus Robinson pick. He put up some gaudy numbers last week, but what kind of role is he going to have? You know, once Tyreek Hill comes back. I pulled the trigger on Debo Samuel because the offense starting to really mesh. I mean, I think Garoppolo barely played any preseason games. I think he might get better as the season goes on.
Debo Samuel's
Throwing
been
darts, man.
Debo Samuel's been picked up, dropped, picked up again now. Somebody paid up for him after just getting dropped this past week, I believe, right?
Yeah, I went back to the previous page, Aaron. I think
Demar-
Jay actually dropped them and picked up like Rex Burkhead.
oh man,
Oh,
yeah. I mean, Demarcus Robinson was the top pay up, $37. I mean, I saw Chris Rhodes comment on it in the group message. Yeah, the one podcast we listened to, they call that a Kittle because last year somebody paid over $40 for George Kittle early on.
whew.
So that's a little running joke there for the people that listen to it. Um, yeah, Debo Samuel to charge for you to pay $33 for somebody that just got dropped for Rex Burkhead.
Mm-hmm.
Did you overpay, or did Jay just completely turn the blind eye to the potential in this guy?
Um, I mean, maybe a little bit of both. I mean, you
Which, by the
know,
way, I don't want to get too far up the list, but at 6:37 this morning, Jay went ahead and dropped Rex Burkhead and picked up Seattle defense.
ooh,
So he
wow.
pretty much traded Debo Samuel for the Seattle defense, and you paid $33 for him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is that so? Are you more willing to trade players or picks next year, or spend or overspend in fab money? Like, would you have
Uh,
rather struck a deal with Jay for this and saved your fab, or would you have rather spent it on the fab and kept what you had?
Realistically, I'd rather spend the fab money because for me personally, if I trade a player and that player goes off, I fucking hate myself. I'd rather pay this $33 and have Debo Samuel never play another snap this season.
And you dropped Preston Williams, which, from what I've read on online, Twitter, other things that I follow, uh, from what I'm hearing, this guy is the only Miami player even worth thinking about. And from my understanding, is the only hope that they have kind of with him is that Miami plays from behind so often that they have to throw the ball so often that Preston Williams becomes a thing because Devontae Parker apparently is just terrible. He's just not the talent just has never translated with him.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, that Miami team, I mean, come on. They got blown out by, 59-10, 43-0. And, I mean, yeah, Preston Williams got 6 targets, but, I mean, getting blown out like that, where is the junk time numbers? Like, I mean, it's just pathetic out there.
Yeah.
Realistically, I don't think anybody on Miami team should be on a roster. Not one of them. I don't think it's worth it.
I mean, the only one worth probably keeping right now is Kenyon Drake, just because they're talking about getting rid of him.
Yeah, the only reason you'd have them is to hope that they actually trade them out of there and they can be valuable somewhere else. I was reading a report that apparently a lot of the Miami players they literally have the look of defeat in their eyes already, and it's only week 2. This is going to be a really long season for Miami. I don't know if they get a yeah. There's not a chance they're getting a win.
There was
Not a
there
chance.
was talk in our group message, right? Talking about how, I guess by rule, we were better than New England because we beat Miami worse than New England.
I mean, it's like yeah. How many points can you put up on the JV football team? Does it even matter at that point?
Yeah, I mean they did shut them out. I don't. I mean, I've heard it referenced a few times. Read it a couple places. If New England's going to go undefeated, this is probably the team that they're going to do it with. This.
There is their team. Their schedule is absolutely fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, but when I'm
I
talking
mean,
undefeated, I'm
let's
saying like
see.
through the playoffs too. So they're going to play good
Right.
teams at the end, is what I'm expecting. You know.
I mean, realistically, the best team they're going to play is going to be are the first half decent team they're going to play is week 8 when they're playing at home. They're playing Cleveland at home. That might be a somewhat competitive game. I mean, look at this slate of teams they're playing. How awful of a schedule can you put out for this team? I mean, that's just pathetic. And realistically, it comes down to their division. Their division is trash. Miami, the Jets. But I mean, Buffalo is somewhat competitive, but awful,
Yeah, I mean
awful.
touching on it. I mean, yeah, looks like the first half of the season is going to be easy for them. Then they start out and they got a couple difficult games. Their end of their schedule actually looks similar, pretty brutal, honestly. They play at the Ravens, at the Eagles. So they're home for the Browns, which you referenced. At the Ravens, at the Eagles, home for the Cowboys, at the Texans, home for the Chiefs. If they can
Yeah,
run through those 6 games and win them, I don't see how anybody can beat them at all.
6 games. I give I think they beat Cleveland at home for sure, but because I think Cleveland
They
has
gotta
their own
come to
issues.
Baltimore, baby. That's a Sunday
I
night
think
game on 820.
Baltimore, maybe Philadelphia, Dallas, and Kansas City. Those are the only games realistically that there's an opportunity for them to lose.
I mean, going to Houston's no easy feat, but granted, Houston does not look like the type of team that I think we were expecting Houston to look like. And they traded away all their damn draft picks, so they're not going to get any stronger on defense next year.
Oh, that team, yeah, not having a GM it really killed them. It really killed them. It's starting off how they handled Clowney. It's just an embarrassment. And to be honest with you, I don't think they win that division. I think Tennessee wins that division.
Tennessee's defense looks strong. But let's stay with what we're talking about. Running through the waivers here. Demarcus Robinson, $37. Debo Samuel, 33. This is where Jay went out and just did an overhaul. Andy Dalton, $10. Dropped Kirk Cousins. Jimmy Garoppolo $8. Drop Mitchell Trubisky. I mean, I feel like he upgraded 2 quarterbacks here, but I still don't know that he found his answer. So I don't.
Two, middle of the pack quarterbacks don't make a good
I
one,
mean,
but I mean,
you gotta hope
certainly
Andy
better than
Dalton's gonna.
Cousins.
You just gotta hope Andy Dalton's a volume guy. I think that's what he's looking for here.
Yeah.
Will Disley, Hunter Henry, who just can't stay healthy. This is you. $7 for Disley. I like this pickup. I don't know that he's a plug and play right away, but if he gets some more action this week, he's going to be a regular for them. I don't know how he came back from that injury, but he looks like he's ready to keep playing with Russell. I mean, he's got one of the best passers in the game throwing to him. So
I like it.
Jay went out, got Darwin Thompson, dropped Deion Lewis again
That's a
here.
good pickup, I think.
I think Darwin Thompson's a great pickup, but in the grand scheme of things, unless there's an injury or an opening, Deion Lewis and Darwin Thompson, neither of them are really impactful. You're just playing that weight game.
Yep.
Frank Gore, I think Haynes needs running back help. Singletary got banged up. Anderson just got cut. So the fact that he was able to make this move and then Anderson got cut. Did he get cut after that or right before it?
Uh,
Did Anderson get cut? He got cut yesterday, right? Because my brother
yeah, I
was
think
talking
so.
shit in the
Mhm.
Discord. So yeah, he might have made this move once he got cut. So that may actually be smarter than what it, or not as smart as it looked. But still, he needs a running back, so he picked him up. Drop New Orleans, pick up Tennessee. I like this move by J-Rad. That's a great defensive pickup. He's seems like he's streaming defenses, but he's still paying for them on the waiver wire every week. I think he could do better by
Eh,
looking a week or two ahead and picking people up on a free agent list for free. But that's just a
I hate
strategic play there.
fucking defenses. It's such a
Oh, here you go.
trash position.
I can How many bids are going to be on this guy? AJ Brown just got dropped, and Ritter paid for Green Bay $3. I would expect AJ Brown probably to be picked up in the next couple days.
Wasn't
Addicts, what's up?
wasn't he just picked up off the waiver,
I think last week.
or was he drafted?
I know he was drafted, but I don't know if he's moved teams or not. I'm gonna have a tough time remembering the waiver wire as many moves are being made. Here's one I like. This is actually I'll let you know. I'll give you a little insight into the league. I will be making a play on the Chargers now that they are on the waiver wire. I like their defense, but I guess Addix is doing the same thing. He's streaming. He got San Francisco for free this week. That's a good pickup. I made a couple moves. Dropped Darrell Henderson. Added Daniel Jones. The new mouth-breathing era of the Giants has begun. Dropped
Yeah,
Chase as
about time.
yeah. He looked great in the preseason. Let's see what he does here. I'm
Yep.
excited. I took a flyer on him. We'll talk about who else I wanted to head up here. You actually picked him up, so. But I was tossing two names up. I went after Daniel Jones. I think he could be, if he comes out and plays well. I mean, with Saquon Barkley and Golden Tate coming back soon, he could be the future and play really well there.
Mhm.
Chase Edmonds, I got rid of. David Johnson went out for I think a drive. Looked like he was injured, wrist problems. I was like,
Yeah,
yes. I was like, yes. I got the handcuff. He's gonna come in here. He's gonna play well. I think they gave him the ball one time and didn't touch him again the rest of the drive.
yeah.
So, cut bait. I grabbed my handcuff for Zeke Elliott and Tony Pollard. Thank you, thanks brother for dropping him last week. I believe it was. Cut bait
Yeah.
with Cam Newton.
Hmm.
I'm sure somebody. This might be one Jay takes a look at because he's a big name quarterback. I can't play this. He's in a boot. He's not playing. He can't hit the broadside of a barn with a pass game anymore. So,
I think he's got physical, but also he's got something going on in his head. I don't know. It's
did you
very
see
very
the man's
odd for him
haircut?
last year.
There's definitely something wrong with his head.
Hmm.
I picked up JJ Arthega Whiteside because I believe Alshon and Deshaun are both hurt, not playing the next couple weeks.
He
This
could
is one.
shine.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite moves. I thought you would text me about this one. Jay cut bait on Corey Davis.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm.
Round of applause. He finally got rid of him.
I'm surprised too. Week 2, I was thinking he'd hang on to him till about week 4 or week 5.
I mean,
But
he gave him his 2 weeks chances, and I don't think he put up a point either week, did he?
0 week 1 on 3 targets.
Okay.
5.3 with 3 receptions on 5 targets. Week 2 for 38 yards. I mean, that's just awful.
Yeah, I think it was time. I'm glad Jay got rid of him there. Picked up Marquise Goodwin. I guess that's the stack to go along with Garoppolo there.
It's a
Fast,
nice flyer.
fastest man in football, right? Didn't he win that competition? Because he's the old
Uh,
sprinter, isn't he? Isn't he the
yeah.
ex-Olympic
I mean,
sprinter? I think.
he's that like one-dimensional type of guys. I mean, you can see it right here with 3 receptions for 77 yards. It's
I mean,
he's a
all you gotta do is
straight line guy.
get past that defender, I guess, right?
Yep.
So here we referenced this one a little bit. Burkhead got dropped. Seattle got picked up. My brother had a bunch of extra room on his team, so he's keeping a short bench and he's playing the waiver wire quickly. Picked up Tampa quick. Rhodes went out and got rid of Mike Davis. Picked up David Moore. Uh, J. Red dropped Carolina, who was a streaming defense last week. Picked up Witten, which against Miami could prove to be a great pickup there. But again, I think that's a spot start.
Mm.
This is the quarterback I really liked. I was actually working on a trade with J-Rad, trying to get James Washington off of him, and I wanted to pick up Mason Rudolph and put together a stack here. But I
Oh,
also was
yeah.
trying to get Dak Prescott from J-Rad, and I was going to attack you for Gallup to pick up a stack. So
Mm.
but you guys are two pieces here that I'm trying to play back and forth and see what I can make happen. But nobody's playing nice. I like this.
Yeah, I mean, 12 for 19, 2 touchdowns. Did have the interception, but I don't know. I'm looking at somebody to fill in for potential bye week for me. So I snatched him up. I don't remember what my bye week was for Kyler Murray, but I like the I like who I think it was maybe week 12. Yeah, because he's playing Cincinnati.
This is another guy though.
So.
I got to see when I went. I spent a lot of time in West Virginia, watching football games and stuff, in person and on TV, obviously every weekend. But going to the games, I was able to go to one of the Oklahoma State games a couple years ago, and Mason Rudolph went absolutely bananas on them. And since then, the name sticks in my head. I've always liked him. He was trapped behind Big Ben. I believe he was an older draft pick. I believe he was a little bit on the older side.
Hmm.
So I didn't know what kind of future he would have, but there's word that Ben's coming back next year. I think Rudolph could potentially be the future for this team, and to have a backup of this quality that can throw the ball down the field, I think it might go well for Juju, even though he lost his guy. My brother's got Miles Sanders and Robbie Anderson on the trade block. He had Ty at one time and didn't move him then either, so we'll see. And then, like I said, short bench, he was able to pick up Jeff Wilson as soon as the alert came out on Sleeper app. Ty Johnson, he picked up tonight as I was looking at him on the waiver wire. So the brother
That's
ESP
rude.
was there.
That is rude.
And then he went out and dropped Tyler Higbee. And then I posted up some stuff on the trade block. A couple players out there, a couple players wanted.
A couple.
Half the team.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about what happened last week. Standings, you got me, you, and Ritter up top. The middle of the pack is pretty strong. Haynes got a team that's going to put up points. My brother got a close win this past week. He probably shouldn't have won it. He's got a negative points for versus points against. J Rad's got negative points for versus points against. Jew Bear's pretty even. Addix is negative, and Chris Rhodes is he's a little negative, but pretty close there. And then Jason's getting smoked. He's got the most points in the league scored against him.
Man, that's a lot.
And
Damn.
I don't know who listens to this podcast, but whoever does, make sure you text Jason tomorrow and tell him he's got 3 IR players on his bench. I can't get in the middle of this because they're on his bench, but I can't imagine he's keeping any of these 3 next year. So somebody tell him to drop them, and if he needs to pick up all the defenses in the league, do it. Jay Leonard, he's getting dominated pretty good too. I think he's got the third most points in the league scored against him.
He likes getting dominated, though.
Yeah, and Joe Beal's having some pretty bad luck. He's also got second least amount of fab left. You and him are competing for who can spend all your money first. So let me pull this up and go back to our week 2 matchups and take a look at what we had on Discord. So last week, I won't count. I won't go into Jay Leonard's too much because he's not here tonight. But we'll at least touch on mine, and yours. The only thing you and I had different was Haynes and Addicts. So I won, so that's correct. You got Haynes. I did not. My brother won, was correct. Neighoff won, was correct. We actually
Josh
picked
Law.
J-Rad to upset, and he got smoked. I think we're all just hoping.
Yeah.
I think we were just kind
Ugh.
of hoping that Ritter would lose.
Yeah. Oh man, the lowest points in the league this week was Josh, or last week.
And
That
we
is
picked
poopy.
Bogat. And we picked Bogat.
Oh,
So we have. So you went 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2.
hmm.
I went 1, 2, 3, and 3.
And to be fair, Jason would have beat everybody except for the guy he lost to and Haynes.
That's very true.
That's pretty terrible. That sucks.
Ooh, yeah, that hurts. That's pretty nasty. Jay went. He lost Joe's. He won Haynes's, so he's got 1, 2. Did he get Ritter? Yeah, he got Ritter, and he got So he had 3 wins because he had. Yep, he took Haynes, he took Crispy, and he took Ritter. Yeah, so he's got 3 wins. So not too impressive, but so that puts you and I at a tie now for the weekly. I had 4 the first week. You had 3. This week we reversed it, 4 and 3. So I mean,
Pretty
I don't think there
fair
was
enough.
anything that really stood out here. Haynes dominated, 177.12. He took home $20 for the second week. Me, you, and Ritter are in the running for the first quarter, and then Haynes would be in fourth place. Record is first. Points scored is the tiebreaker, and I believe that was for. I'd have to double check it, but I want to say that was for another $20 also, if I remember correctly.
Hmm.
But we can look into that. So we'll jump into matchups this week. First one we have up is my brother and myself. Um,
Oh.
I mean I this is I am the number one scoring projected team for the week. I have the highest projected score right now. I'm gonna go ahead and take myself. Not much to say. I think about my lineup. The only variable here, I pulled Damian Williams out because there's potential injury scare there. Um, if he plays, there's a good chance I throw him back in, move Antonio Brown where Marvin Jones is, and I'm back to the same lineup I think I had last week, except for my quarterback swap. I got Dallas against Miami this week. It looks great.
Yeah, there's not really. I think your weakest player is Marvin Jones, and I still don't think that's like a terrible play.
No, and the thing is, if I move Damian Williams back in or even Peyton Barber into my flex and put Antonio Brown up there, I don't have a single player projected less than double digits.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of playing. I like Marvin Jones this week against Philly. I think Philly's exploitable in the secondary, so that's why I have him in there now. But there's only tweaks I make. The rest of my lineup, I mean, I don't. It's plug and play for me right now. Fortunately, I'm just in a good spot considering all the scares I had. I feel really
Well,
confident in my team. What do you think? You taking my brother? You going
nah,
against me?
I'm gonna have to go with you. I mean, he's got some good matchups here, some good players, but
I think if he went up
yeah,
against
some bad matchups.
another team in a league, it might be easier to pick him. I just think this week
Yeah,
everything looks perfect for my team. Matchups, I mean, just all of it. Just this is just one
I
of those
mean,
weeks. I think it's all going to come together.
the Patriots defense put up 35 fantasy points last week against Miami. Dallas at home. It's gonna get ugly.
I think it's the first time
Uh,
I heard. I think I heard the other day, first time ever that they've had two teams in a league that are favored by more than 20 points.
yeah, I think the last time it happened was like in the 80s or something,
I didn't even know
maybe.
they gambled back then.
Yeah, I don't.
Would they send it through carrier pigeon?
Hey man, they used to when they used to play fantasy back in the day. It was all pencil and paper, and you had to go through newspapers after
I remember
Monday.
my
Ugh.
stepdad Bruce sitting in his office. Great use of tax money for Baltimore County government. He'd sit in his office with a newspaper and write down all of the. He would do baseball, so this had to be done daily,
Ooh.
daily. And there was a
Yeah.
million stats, a million different things went into. Like I feel like football is easy. You're like, how many yards, how many catches, did they score a touchdown? Like three categories and you're done. Baseball was like average, hits, home runs, doubles, like stolen bases, just all kinds of shit. I could not believe they did that, but it was a lot of fun to watch.
Mm-mm-mm.
Second up, I have Haynes and Joe Beal. This one, projections wise, is dead even.
Yep.
He's got the Wentz Aguilar stack with Joe Beal. With those other guys hurt, Aguilar is going to be the number one. I don't see how Haynes does not. I don't know that he'll score 170, but if he puts up another 150 this week, I would not be surprised.
Oh, does he have to play Kenyon Drake?
There's no way. He just picked up a running back. He could play Frank Gore.
Okay.
I
Whew.
wonder if he hasn't made a
All
change
right.
yet because I think waivers hit today. I would be willing to bet Frank Gore gets put in for that. I bet you that was his
Yeah.
move. He's got to hate seeing Drew Brees go down because Latavius Murray just like disappeared. I don't even think he's worth. He's not worth playing at all right now.
Yeah. I think Kamara and Michael Thomas the only ones that can really keep up their projections.
And I think you got to take all their projections with a grain of salt because if any of them are based off of the old like what they expected in the beginning of the year, that changes. These guys are that team isn't. That's my team. Who that gonna beat them Saints? Every single team in the league right now is probably gonna beat them Saints. Teddy Bridgewater looked lost.
That's also coming off the bench.
Yeah, I
Uh,
yeah.
I think he might look a little better
Sean Payton's good. He's
coming up
gonna
here.
scheme well. But yeah, this Kenyon Drake thing is funny. 2.4 points. Wow,
Hmm.
that's got to be why
I
this is
think
close.
I think that's being generous.
I mean, that's like what 3 catches and 10 yards. That's literally what that is. That's
Yeah.
3 catches for 10 yards. I think you should be able to muster that. You know they're going to run 40 plays the game at 40 50 plays during the game at least. I
Yeah.
don't know, but either way, I think this is a no-brainer. I think Haynes is my pick. Even with Drake in there, I think Gore's. I think he picked up Gore specifically for that spot.
Yeah. I think Patrick Mahomes and Haynes's wide receivers save him here. I think Tredavian, what's that? The Buffalo corner. I think he's has some kind of injury thing going on. I mean, he's a really great corner, but if he's not playing, I think Tyler Boyd has a chance to put up a lot of points here.
Yeah, I was actually reading some stats about Cincinnati's offense and how much different they are throwing the ball compared to running it compared to last year. The
Mm-hmm.
the percentages are way up in the passing game. That must be the new coach, Marvin Lewis. The old school grind it down their throat and play defense is not there anymore. So
Yeah, like I think I was saying this before is where Marvin Lewis. I mean, he was one of the I think top two, if not the longest tenured coach
I think you're
in the
right.
league before he was gone. And I mean, messages get stale sometimes, especially when you're not going to the playoff, you're losing. Your message can get drowned out. You can just not play good.
I
You
mean,
can have the same team, some fresh blood in there, and
sometimes yeah, trust the process, right? Change team, change quarterback, see where it goes. Just a little aside, since we're discussing Cincinnati right now, AJ Green had no noticeable limp while doing drills on the rehab field today. Was reported just a little about 2 hours ago. So
yeah, I think I saw that. I mean, I
it's
still
kind of
think he's maybe
conflicting.
a week or two out, but
Didn't we just have reports yesterday that he was going to be more than the 6 to 8 week time frame, and now today he's out there running around with no limp? I think it's all
yeah,
based off the contract discussions. I think he wants to get
Mm.
paid before he gets hurt again.
Yeah, because he can't stay healthy.
So you're going Haynes here?
Yeah, I'm going Haynes here.
All right, I like that. I like that. Next up, Jay Leonard versus Chris Rhodes. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
looking at it quick, Jay got a quarterback that he likes. I don't agree with the one that he's starting. I'm sure I don't want to influence. So you guys do what you want with your teams. Don't blame me when you make a move. But I see some. I mean, he's got the stack. He's got Garoppolo and Goodwin. He must like that. He picked him up today. He doesn't have any depth really on his bench at all for that flex spot. He's like pretty much forced to play Goodwin here. He's still rostering 3 quarterbacks.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean he's playing Hawkinson. Got him 1 point last week. I think Hawkinson and Ebron are probably both touchdown dependent at this point. Jay's team's in a rough spot. He needs to strike gold on a waiver wire pickup here or something. And I mean Darwin Thompson could be it.
Yeah, that's the same guy I was looking at as far as he's got an opportunity with an injury, potentially steal a spotlight there.
I mean, I saw these are waiver pickups. So I don't know if he's looked at his team. I know he called me today and was talking to me about fantasy, so I'm sure he's monitored it. But he does have Seattle against New Orleans instead of Houston against the Chargers. I mean, Seattle's at home. I think, yeah, I'm looking at this and I feel like I would make some moves different. I don't think Jay's team is strong enough right now. I think he needs to catch lightning in a bottle somewhere. I thought Hawkinson was going to be that for him, but this past week looked scary. Rhodes has got, he's got a couple good moves here. McCoy scares me. I'm sure he's got somebody on his bench he can swap in this spot last minute once he finds out whether or not he's playing. But DJ Chark has become Minshew's like best friend, so that's a steal that he picked up on the waiver wire. Zach Ertz is going to benefit greatly in targets from all those guys being down. He's got some other. This is a real toss up for me, honestly. I could see this one going either way. It really depends upon who. Like I think Jay Leonard's got the better looking team, but I think
Mm.
Rhodes has got the like a Bell. Le'Veon Bell goes way down without Darnold there. You saw that last week. I mean,
No,
Le'Veon.
I didn't see that. I lost because Le'Veon Bell did a lot more than what I thought he should. As terrible as the Jets are, he still put up 15 fantasy points last week.
He did it against
After
Cleveland.
Yeah, but I mean,
Do you,
that's pretty
do
incredible.
you think he does it against New England? At New England?
Maybe not, but think about this. Like, you have essentially the backup's backup, who you literally just pulled off the practice squad, come into the game. How did he get anything in that second quarter is beyond me. Because he's the only guy they have left there.
Well, he
I
was running.
mean,
He was running Wildcat. I mean, he was catching passes every time they snapped it. He had to throw. The quarterback had to throw it somewhere, and I mean, Bell's a dump off king. He's a PPR
yep.
monster. I look at Rhodes' team, and I look at it, and I'm like, Allen Robinson. I mean, against Washington on Monday night, I'm just not overly impressed with Trubisky. Landry, I think, is being super underutilized. I've always been big on him. He's on my dynasty team in my other league. He's a PPR monster. He's been pretty much non-existent with Baker this year. DJ Chark, I like. Bell, um, again, don't. I mean, don't you think the best coach in the league is going to know exactly what you just said? How the hell is Bell going to be allowed to beat them? They're going to put 9 guys in the box and go single coverage on the outside.
Yeah, but I mean, at that point, what is the alternative? Like to not use the best player on the field?
Oh no, I understand. Like he's gonna
But
get, but I mean, this is the kind of game against New England where they know that the only hope that the Jets have to win this is gonna be. I don't even know. Is Jamison Crowder hurt? Did he get hurt this last week? Because I didn't see much of him.
uh, no, he just got I think 1 or 2 targets.
Yeah. So without
What
him
one
being
game?
targeted, unless Bell just goes bananas or the Jets defense decides to go like old school Rex Ryan and like find a way to hold New England to 13 to 17 points. There's no way the Jets win this game. I
Oh,
just
not a chance, but they had no chance last week either. But he still put up points. I think David Montgomery's going to have a game against Washington.
I'll put it this way:
Um,
if he doesn't this week, this is another name that I had a lot of hope for that I'm losing hope.
if he doesn't do it this week, Matt Nagy is not the offensive genius that everyone thought he was.
This guy's
I'll
dynamic
put
as
it
shit.
dead
Put him
out.
on the field.
He is by far the most electric player on their offense. and somehow he's just not getting the touches. He's just not getting the touches.
He needs to get
It's criminal.
he needs to get 20 carries and about 8 targets.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If you're not
And
getting him more than 25 looks in a game, you have got to look in the mirror and say, no wonder we're losing games. Like, this is nobody's fault but my own. You have got to get him 25 looks.
I'll say this right now. I think Matt Nagy utilizes David Montgomery, and I do think it opens up a little bit for Allen Robinson. I bet between the two of them, they're projected 22 points. I think they go over.
I I think if you give Montgomery 20 carries, Robinson doesn't need to be used, which I think is what hurts you because the Chicago defense is so good. I don't think Washington stands a chance here. I don't think they can move the ball. I think this game is going to come like it's just going to be so. It's going to be an awful Monday night game again.
Yeah.
It's going to be
Yeah.
slow. It's going to be a lot of defense. I mean, I know we got off track here a little bit and got bullshit. And I got to go with Rhodes. I just think Jay's team's in a bad spot right now. Maybe a
Yeah,
little
I'm
rebound.
I'm I'm going Rhodes. I'm telling you, I like that. I like David Montgomery, Bell, um, Ertz. I mean, gonna roast Detroit.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like. I think Ertz. I think Ertz is a big difference maker in this lineup, and he's got to get McCoy out of there if he doesn't play. I don't. I think McCoy getting 10 is way too high personally. As if Damian
There's
Williams plays, there's no way he gets 10 against Baltimore. As number two, he just doesn't get that much.
there's a guy on his bench I think goes off this week, but I'm not gonna say who it is.
Oh, you're not giving him no hints.
Nope.
I'm over here trying. I was trying to help somebody's lineup earlier. Next up, I have Ritter and you. I think this is
Oh.
so. You know what happens here. This is one of you can only go three. Only one of you can go 3-0, and I'm already going to be sitting there at 3-0. So who's going to come catch me? Is what's happening.
Hmm.
And I like your team, Chris. I think I've rooted for you every week. I think you're in trouble here.
Yeah,
I
that's what
think
I'm thinking
I
too.
think
I
Lamar Jackson, Marquise Brown, Ritter got scared last week. I don't know if we influenced him on the podcast talking about all those Baltimore Ravens. He's putting 3 back on the board this week. I think Jackson and Brown. I think we're going to get behind. Personally, I think the Ravens are going to get behind early, and Jackson's going to have to ball out.
I think there's no doubt Jackson will ball out. That's what's scary. I mean, realistically, if of course, this is one of those games where you think it's going to be this offensive explosion, and it becomes like a 13-10 game at after the fourth quarter. But if it does go high scoring, I mean, I can picture Jackson and or Mahomes getting creeping close to 40 points this week.
Kansas City's defense just is not good enough to slow these guys down.
And
I'm gonna go Ritter here. I'm looking at my team and looking at Ritter's, and I'm thinking about how I think he's the closest to me in projection points, and how I look at my team, and I feel like I have a bunch of misfits that are just like doing super well. Ritter's team feels like a dominating fantasy team when you read through these names. Lamar Jackson, Amari Cooper, Stephon Diggs, Marquise Brown's a little bit of a flyer this year, but then he's got
uh,
Saquon Barkley, he's got Melvin Ingram, Greg Olson is an older name, but still Larry Fitzgerald, Will Lutz. I mean, this just feels like he's playing in an 8-team league.
you're literally just like, oh, it's kickers, just man, kicking so many field goals this year.
Man, how do you not like kickers?
And
You don't like kickers either?
I hate kickers, and I hate defense more than kickers, but
Are you,
kickers
are you
are
picking
silly.
yourself? Are you picking yourself in this? Are you a homer on this? Or are you scared?
Uh, you know, I am gonna take myself on
Or
this.
are you pleading the fifth on this one?
Because just like I think Lamar Jackson go out, I think uh, Carolina's defense is good enough, but exploitable enough that I think Kyler Murray. I think he gets a combined 4 touchdowns. I'm going crazy.
So
I got David Johnson, who I think can run on Carolina. He's going to catch a lot of passes. Uh, and I love Mark Andrews. I love it.
So if Mark Andrews gets the target share and touchdowns and everything else he's been getting, Lamar Jackson helps you. So you kind of counter Ritter's play there. Um, Carolina, if Cam doesn't play, Arizona's defense is pretty bad. But there's a good opportunity that there's a lot of 3-and-outs, a lot of short drives for Carolina, putting the ball in Arizona's hands, which allows them to run that wild offense, that quick pace, that 70 snaps a game they want to run here. If their defense
Hmm.
can make snaps or make stops, it plays into their snap rate, which is exactly what they want. This is a spot right here for I feel like Arizona to really. I think this is where Cliff Kingsbury opens the playbook and goes wild. If they can keep getting the ball back on defense quickly, it's going to be fun.
Yep.
Did you see the report today about Aaron Jones? How they want to do an even split with Jamal Williams?
Unreal. The same thing with Nagy. It's like LaFleur. Like, you see what happens when you feed him. He goes off. And I mean, aside from fantasy, like, if you're feeding your starting running back 23 times, he's getting 116 yards. Against a Minnesota defense, you know that you know that works. It works. Why don't you do it every week? It's pretty crazy.
Another
But
one,
I think
another one I see on your team, Kareem Hunt. Have you been paying attention to how little I feel like the Browns have been getting Chubb the ball?
I noticed that for the Jets game. A lot of passing going on. It was kind of odd, very odd. And I think
Considering
at some point, did someone have that Chubb's backup?
was it Durante or Duran or something like that? His name is Johnson. It's D
Yeah,
Johnson again. I thought Duke
yeah,
Johnson was
yep,
back on the damn team when
right.
I saw the box score.
Little throwback.
Kept tricking me. I was like, that's not him.
Yeah,
So
so
I
that's
went
strange.
I went Ritter. You went yourself. So that's a
Yeah.
difference here so far in our lineup. Next up, I got Bear Greg. I love his avatar. It's so funny. And then J Rad with Nightman Cometh. Um, J Rad and I had a pretty wild trade about to go through that I think would have changed the league pretty drastically. It would have made his team, I think, a lot better. Definitely would have strengthened my weak spot. But he backed out last minute. He got scared. He said he's confident in his team. He said he doesn't want to jump to any conclusions too quickly. I think he's an idiot, but he wouldn't trade with me. He wouldn't give him up. But here, I mean, we got Joe Beal. Just looking through real quick. Wilson, Lockett, Manuel Sanders, Chubb. We just talked about him. Mixon's hurt. Vance McDonald with a new quarterback. I think J. Red bounces back this week. I think maybe he gets a little
Damn.
bit of false hope. I think he gets some false hope in some of the players that he didn't want to get rid of. I think Michelle is going to lay another egg for him against the Jets, and Dak is not going to put up as many points as he's hoping for because they're going to smoke Miami early. And Zeke is going to run the ball like crazy.
That's fair. That's fair.
What do you think?
Man, this is a tough one. I mean,
By the way,
I'd
great
like to go
spot.
J-Rad here, but
Great spot for Mike Evans to bounce back this week too for him.
yeah, see, that's what scares me. Like a guy like Mike Evans, the what he's been doing has been very uncharacteristically not Mike Evans. But I think Jameis is going to continue to slowly improve this season. So this is definitely a prime spot for him against a New York Giants defense that is just as flaccid as their offense.
If it doesn't happen in week 3 against this defense, Tampa's in big trouble.
Yeah, their defense has been playing a lot better. But
I agree.
man, oh man.
J-Rad with all the Dallas shares here too. He's got Dak Prescott, Randall Cobb stack, and then he's got the kicker.
You know what? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go out on a limb here, just to play devil's advocate. I'm gonna pick Bear.
Ooh, Mac. So if you are right and McInville beats J-Rad, I advise everybody that listens to this podcast in the league to shoot him trades because my man is gonna tilt off of this earth. He is gonna be in super panic mode if he winds up 1-2 with this team. I think he's overthinking it here, playing Dak instead of Deshaun Watson, but we'll let him go.
He likes stacks. Everybody likes stacks.
They're a lot of
So
fun.
silly.
He had so much fun that week 1 against New Orleans with Deshaun and DeAndre.
Of course, how much do you consider a stack if he's throwing to their third string wide receiver there? I don't know.
No, yeah, yeah,
Fair enough.
yeah.
I mean, he's getting 5, 6 targets. I mean, that's respectable.
Who Cobb? You're referencing?
Yeah,
I
Cobb.
gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. I'm sorry. A little distracted there for a moment. But I'm back
Ooh.
now. I apologize. So last matchup we have here, Jason MMXIX versus Addicts. So we have the all IR team versus I'm still not googling it, but the Kentucky Klondike Bar over here. What do you? I mean, what do you see right away on this one? What do you? I could tell you, looking at this right away, Jason's team has been pretty dreadful. He's got the most points scored against him. This past week, he would have beaten everybody except for Haynes. I think you said earlier.
Yeah. I think he gets out of the hole this week.
I'm with you.
That Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook went off last week, but I think he keeps rising.
It is.
Well, I don't know how you could say he went off. Scored 25 and 26 weeks 1, 2 respective.
It is
He's a
killing.
beast.
It is absolutely killing him right now with Freeman and Howard putting up zeros.
Yeah. Yep. Howard hurts more than anything, and I think on his bench he's got Njoku, who broke his wrist also Monday night.
Yeah, concussion, broken wrist. I mean, look at the bottom of Jason's bench here. He's got Balaj, who I don't know if you've watched any tape on him. Absolutely dreadful. Roethlisberger
It's so
IR,
bad.
and Joko.
How does Balaj have more projected points
Then
than
Kenyon Drake.
yeah?
Maybe they
Wow,
expect maybe
man.
they expect them to sit
Who
Kenyon
knows?
Drake to make sure that he doesn't get hurt before they trade him.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's got Roethlisberger IR, Kenya Balaj worthless, Njoku concussion, broken wrist, Funchess IR, N'Keal Harry IR. Somebody text this dude. Chris Rhodes, this is your responsibility. He's your brother-in-law. He's your problem, not ours. Get him to fix his bench. Uh,
That
I,
is
I went.
sad.
I am with you though. Jason gets off the schneid this week. He winds up 1-2. I'm rolling with him. So yep, Bogat. What happened here? Oh no, I wiped out my list. Okay.
Jesus.
Yeah. I clicked. I wiped it out. I'll have to reset it here. But I mean, the only thing we went different on was Jubear and
Yep. Yep.
yourself. Those are the only two that we flipped on. Otherwise, we're equal down the board. Just to run through real quick, we talked about AJ Green. Looks like right now, Kyle Allen is going to be the starting quarterback for the Panthers. So that's kind of scary.
I've heard people say that he's better than what you think. Actually, Mike Freeman said that, and I tend to agree with him.
I'm 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 kind of upset you're not going to see Will Greer, West Virginia alum. He can throw the ball down the field. I don't know much about this guy, but I mean,
I thought he looked like shit in the preseason.
don't you say that. Anybody's going to
I'm
be better
not,
than
he
Cam
did.
here. Anybody's going to be better than Cam here. A hurt Cam, a Cam that can't run, is not a good thing. So,
Yeah.
and Njoku news here, we just talked about it. McCoy was absent for practice Wednesday. Connor was absent from Wednesday practice. Mixon's not on the injury report, so it looks like he's going to be ready to roll. What else? What else was on here? Marlon Mack missed the Wednesday walkthrough. Damian Williams didn't practice Wednesday. LaFleur wants even reps for Jones and Williams. You love that.
So fucking dumb.
LaShawn McCoy, I think, he was absent also Wednesday practice. So the backfield in Kansas City looks. Darwin Thompson might be a play this week. I don't even know. And my brother, as soon as this Jeff Wilson is the red zone running back from Shanahan in San Francisco. As soon as I saw that alert, he went and picked him up on the waiver wire. He is a waiver wire hawk right now. I'm kind of excited about New Orleans though because they haven't named Bridgewater as the starter, and there's question whether or not Taysom Hill, the magician himself, is going to be out there playing quarterback. So I wonder how much they're going to use him.
Sean Payton said something about what alluded to him not essentially playing as much of a role as he did with Breeze.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. So I'll update the records, last week's win loss records. I'll update the picks for this week in Discord. I think that pretty much wraps everything up. Again, sorry guys, we didn't get to do two shows this week, but kind of worked out. This one actually wound up being it's about 50 minutes so far. So I mean we're running right where we want to be. I think we covered everything pretty quickly. We're not going to go into everybody's team every week in detail because it's just going to become redundant, but we got some good information, some good shit talking going on here. I mean, well, I'll end it with good luck catching me this year, guys. Neighoff, I'd love to see you beat Ritter so that I can get a little space from his team. But anything else from you before we head out?
Nah, man. Good luck this week, everybody.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. We'll be back next week with hopefully back to the Tuesday, Wednesday schedule. If not, it'll be another truncated show. But I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Bah, 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 bah.
Bye bye.